Dear friends, here we are once more, and in my research I have found out that in the recent years there has been a revival of interest in the topic about demonic possession through movies and books. And as we saw in the previous episodes that the actual demonic possession is somewhat rare, but it does happen. We should remember that one key element in any context is to understand the tactics of your opponent and to recognize the strength of his strategy. Although the actual demonic possession is quite rare, but most of us should be looking out for the more common ways through which the devil attacks us. Usual tactics are more subtle and pervasive, and we ought not to be distracted by them from our main goals. In the spiritual battle of life, we need to develop some sophistications in recognizing, naming, and understanding the delicacies of the devil's common tactics. The devil shoots at our minds, our thoughts, then down to our hearts, and before we know it, he possesses us wholly. And here are some of the few tactics I have found that the devil uses commonly on us to make us his victims. The first one is deception. As Jesus said, the devil was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks according to his own nature. He is a liar and the father of lies. Check in John chapter 8 verses 44. How does the devil deceive us? First, he will deceive us with many false and empty promises. Most of these relate to the lie that we will be happier and more fulfilled if we sin or deny the aspect of the truth. Whatever passing pleasure comes with sin, it is just passing. It does not dwell for eternity. Great and accumulated suffering eventually comes from almost all sinful activities. Yet, despite this experience, we humans remain very naive. We seem to love empty promises and put all sorts of false hopes in them. The second way that the devil uses to deceive us is by suggesting all sorts of complexity, especially in our thoughts. He seeks to confuse us and conceal the fundamental truth about our actions as evil actions, and they seem to be good actions. Our minds are very cunning and love to indulge complexity as a way of avoiding the truth and making excuses. We entertain endless complications by asking, but what if this? And what about that? Along with the devil, we project all sorts of possible difficulties, like, I have been in this sin for long. I don't think I can be helped in any way. We have exceptions or potential self-pity stories in order to insist that we or others behave well and live according to the truth, of which we are not living according to the truth. Then the other way the devil uses to deceive us is through word-smithing, quoting bad actions with very enticing names, like murder of the child through abortion becomes reproductive freedom or choice. Sodom is called gay, a word that used to mean happy. Fornication is called cohabitation. The redefinition of marriage as it has been known for millennia is labeled marriage freedom or marriage equality, and thus through exaggeration and outright false labeling, the devil deceives us. We too easily cooperate by calling good what is evil. The other way the devil deceives us is through sheer volume of information. Information is not the same as truth. Data can be assembled very craftily to make deceptive points. Further, certain facts and figures can be emphasized to the exclusion of other balancing truths, and thus even information that is true in itself can become a form of deception. The news media sometimes exercise their great power in what they do not report, and this too is a way that the devil uses to deceive us. Therefore, we do well to carefully assess the many ways Satan seeks to deceive us. Do not believe everything you think or hear, and while we ought to be pessimistic, we ought to be sober. We should seek to verify what we see or hear and square it what God has revealed as the truth. That's what we call spiritual discernment. The other tactic that the devil uses to deceive us is through division. One of Jesus' final prayers for us was that we would be one. You can confirm in John chapter 17 verses 22. He prayed this at the Last Supper, just before he went out to suffer and die for us. As such, he highlights that the chief aspect of his work on the cross is to overcome the division intensified by Satan. Some point out that the Greek root of the word diabolical means to cut, to tear, or divide. Therefore, Jesus' prayer and work is to reunify what the devil divides. And how does the devil use these tactics on us? The devil's work of division starts within each one of us. As we experience many contrary drives within us, some are noble, creative, and edifying. Others are base, sinful, and destructive. So often we struggle internally and feel torn apart within ourselves. Much as St. Paul describes in Romans chapter 7, the good that I want to do, I don't do. And when I try to do good, it is evil that comes at hand. This is the work of the devil, to divide us within. And as also St. Paul emphasizes in Romans chapter 8, the main work of the Lord is to establish within us the unity of soul and body in accordance with the unity of his truth. Of course, the devil's attack against our inner unity translates or becomes many divisions among us externally. That is the division which starts from within and comes out externally to be exercised among us. So many things help drive this division, and the devil surely taps into them all. One is anger, past hurts, resentments, fear, misunderstanding, greed, pride, and arrogance. All these are geared towards dividing us from each other. There is also impatience that we so easily develop towards those we love, and the flawed notion that we should seek other more perfect and desirable people, and thus many abandon their marriage and families to look for a better wife and happy family. They leave churches and communities always in search for the exclusive goal of finding better and more perfect people and situations. Little did they find themselves in a bad situations than before. Yes, the devil has real field day tapping into a variety of sinful drives within us. His goal is always to divide us, both internally and from each other. We do well to recognize that regardless of our struggle with each other, we all share one common enemy. And so, in the course of our inner struggles, we hurt each other, causing division. As St. Paul writes, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, powers of this dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm." Look in Ephesians chapter 6 verses 12. Quarreling brothers will reconcile when there is a maniac at the door, but the first step is noticing the maniac and then setting aside lesser divisions among them of quarrel to fight the maniac. We have to be united to fight our common enemy, the devil. The other tactic the devil uses is diversion. To be diverted means to be turned away from our primary goal and task. And for all of us, the most critical focus is God, and then the good things waiting for us in heaven. Our path is towards heaven, along the path of faith, obedience to the truth, love of God, and love of neighbor. And thus, the devil does all that he can to turn us away from this, our true God. Perhaps he will do this by making us too absorbed in the passing things of this world. Many claim that they are too busy to pray, too busy to go to church, or to seek other forms of spiritual nourishment. They become absorbed in the passing worldly things and ignore the lasting reality that is revealed. Anxiety and fears also distract us. Through this, the devil causes us to be consumed by fear about passing things and fail to have the proper fear of the judgment that awaits us. Jesus says, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell." Read in Matthew chapter 10 verses 28. In other words, we should have a holy reverence and fear directed towards the Lord. In this way, many of our fears will be seen in better perspective. All will even go away altogether. But in this matter of fear, the devil says just the opposite. We should be afraid of the thousands of things that might afflict us on this passing earth and not think about the one most significant thing that awaits us. That is the judgment. At the heart of all diversion is the fact that the devil wants us to focus on lesser things in order to avoid focusing on greater things such as moral decisions and the overall direction of our life. The goal to reach, to be reunited with God.